And in the upper right, in the blue, he is the most stylish man alive. Give it up, Armani. And in the bottom left, in the red, he is Muscle Toss, the Kingslayer, in his last season before he has to go to military. He is, for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Zest. Actually, I would be interested in a kind of a bulk comparison, like a meta analysis on kind of betting lines, or esports betting lines versus, or StarCraft betting lines versus the League Act predictions. Yeah, but Bitterwood, we have Beyond back now for military. We have Classic back for military. We have Gumiho back for military. We have others. I mean, yeah, some people are leaving the military, but it's pretty cool that we are seeing these players start to show us that it... Ooh, what is this pylon for, Zest? It's just like a Proxy Stargate out of vision? I don't know. June 130. Yeah, Classic got back in form super fast. I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do with about another season of Zoun showing him the ropes. Because, of course, Classic was like Zoun's idol back in the SKT days. And Classic is very excited now that they're on the same team. So they've been working hard together. There we go. Just Proxy Stargate out of vision. And the question now is, I mean, it is known this is going to be a Stargate. I kind of don't even understand what the point of hiding the Stargate out on the map is when we're looking at a PvZ in particular, because the Overlord's going to say, hey, wait, it's 230, 227, you don't have Warp Gate. I know this is going to be Stargate play. It's just a matter of where. And it's like shield battery pushes aren't really a thing in PvZ as well, because, I mean, look, creep spread, right? It's going to be hard to make anything like that happen. I mean, who knows? Maybe Armani comes on in and shows the form that he did for the and that one GSL round of 8 run that he had. So now we're gonna have Adepts on into the main base, and hey, you know what? They're not getting workers, but that's fine. They are just they're feeding on the corpses of dead Zerglings, and that's always going to be something rather nice indeed. Yeah, who knows? Maybe Armani returns to the form that saw him in the round of 8 of the GSL, but. I mean, I kind of get the feeling here that there are two different ways that players go into military. There's the bang of what I think Zest is going to try to do, where I think Zest may win the entire thing this year. Just, you know, it's like, look, I'm going to military. This is my last season as a professional StarCraft player for a while. I want to do something. I want to win a GSL again. And then there's kind of what Stats did, where you kind of, or Innovation, where you just kind of phone it in and take your qualification, take the money where you can, and, you know, you're already not practicing as much anymore because what does it matter? Anyway, the Oracle actually finding some significant damage here. 4 workers go down. As much as I said, yeah, I mean, this is kind of obvious to Armani that this is a Stargate, just you don't know where it's going to be. Well, Oracle will still get some damage. I mean, there's 2 Oracles on the map now. I mean, this does one-shot workers. So maybe, well, we're just going to have to see how much value it is able to get. Yeah, cute snack. I get that one. As a PhD student, what is money? I don't understand what this means. Man, Earl Sweet, that is that's a bet right there. Okay, look at this. So we see a stats build coming on up from Zest in this game number 1, excuse me. So it's double Oracle, fine, into Mass Adept, and I mean, I almost never like this because the meta at this point is, yes, my opponent is going Stargate. Time to run across the map with Queens and Roaches and just try to kill him. And by the way, folks, that's exactly what's happening here. We have a Roach Warren underway, no lair at the 5-minute mark. As, what are we at? Yeah, there we go. It's only 1 gas, going up to 3, though. This is absolutely just going to be a Queen Walk. I think, 5 Queens going up to 6. This is going to be a Queen Walk, as we do see a bunch of supply room get opened on up, and as much damage as Zest got early, as much as I liked his opener, kind of. It's going to be a bunch of roaches and queens running across the map. And folks, Adepts against Roach Queen, not a play. Now, these Adepts, they do look to run across the map here. They may be able to just catch roaches before they're fully together. They may be able to go and just kind of keep the army home while we see Zest get into something that can actually deal with this. But I mean, this is a lot more roaches than you would expect to normally have, as they will look to target things down. But I mean, this is a lot more Adept than you would normally have here, as the Ravagers are just getting targeted down instantaneously. One does go down, but now we're looking for the Zerglings around here. Bile should get dropped, and I mean, this is just not good for Zest here in this game. Now, he will shade on in to the main base and try to find something there, and that is something. A couple of workers will start to go on down, but again, well, the roaches, lings sit on top of things. The Adept Shade is going to stay in the main base, and there we go. It's just going to be a recall out, and now we're going to see the walk. The queens are already walking here on the map as one Oracle does go down, and I mean, okay, I like this. I like these 4 Adepts on the map here. Right, it's kind of the idea of dropping Zealots in the Terran's main base as they're going for a +1 stim combat shield push. Something like that, where you're like, okay, well, I know my opponent is, well, they're going to move out on the map, so they're not going to have a lot at home, which means maybe I can make something happen. But in this game, that's not really going to be the plays. Now, okay, roaches and lings and all that fun stuff, they're going to find a bunch of these Adepts here. The queens, they continue to walk, and of course, the whole goal here is to corral the armies. The Zerglings will be sent on forward, and again, Zest is just forcing better trades, despite the fact that his army is not good. Like, let's be clear here. This army that he's built for himself is not what you want. He's doing a great job of keep forcing Armani forward, forcing it backwards, and now the Adepts, they're going to find their way on into the third base. There is no army here to defend this. This is going to be a dead mineral line, and Armani, it's now all or nothing. He's going to have to break this, but there are Stalkers, there are force fields, there are Immortals here, and there are cannons at this natural, and that is just going to make it so damn hard to break through on everything. 18 workers have died. Adepts in the natural as well. I mean, as much as I don't like it, Zest, he's going to take this game 1. So on this map, that's a little bit smaller of a map. Do we see Zest open Stargate once again? Is this a more Warp Gate focus? Is it Warp Gate into Stargate as Zest looks to emulate Trap? We're going to find out in just about, the next 20 seconds. And now for Armani, I mean, we've been talking a little bit about how this is a Queen Walk map, and Armani attempted a Queen Walk in game number 1, even if Zest did a great job of delaying it long enough for him to get enough static defense and get Immortals out. But okay, it will be Stargate once again. This time, it's not going to be proxied in a weird spot on the map. It's just going to be in Zest's main base, which is, again, that's a little bit more stable. That probably tells us that this is just not going to be Oracle play. It is instead going to be Void Ray play, kind of your traditional Stargate idea that's really been a thing since the start of the year. So yeah, the Hitterwood, kind of the issue. Yeah, I understand. Like, okay, well maybe there's a little bit too much PvP lately. I think there's a big difference in matchup between like a top 2, top 3 Protoss player PvP and ladder Protoss number 56 that has managed to qualify for a tournament. So I mean, in PvP there, yeah, there's that. Also, I don't know if anyone watched the Zombie Grub stream yesterday, but I kind of tend to agree with her. PvZ can have some bangers, but in general, it is kind of the least exciting matchup to watch, and certainly the least exciting matchup to cast. There's just a lot of dead space. There was a time, of course, when it was double Stargate Void Array, where you're just struggling to find things to talk about for like the first 10 minutes of a game. The first 10, 12 minutes before, you're like, it's carriers, and the Zerg didn't react enough, and the Zerg dies, or, the Zerg got enough with it. Just super binary, not all that interesting to talk about. Whereas PvP has a lot more to it. So as a caster, that's my bias. Not that I'm going to cheer for anyone as I'm actively casting, but that is my bias. And there we go, Zest. He's going to go for the +1 build here in this game. I do like this. And +1 Air actually does a really good job of dealing with these Queen Walks. Again, +0 Voids, they don't fight Queens all that well. +1 Voids, because Voids attack like 6 times a second. It's an additional like 6 DPS for Void Ray with that +1. Actually makes a big deal, makes a big difference. But anyway, Here we are, second Stargate now underway. We have the third base on the way for Zest as well. Interesting that he's choosing to take the more pushable position. He's taking that triangular third, which again is just a little bit closer to the third base of Armani through the middle of the map, but it's also a little bit more defensive. Maybe there's a little, you can kind of choke it out a little bit easier. So, you know, 6 one way, half dozen the other. But okay, there we go. So we're going to see 2 Vorteries out at a time, and this is interesting from both players. Okay, so there's going to be Hydroling Bane here from Armani in this game number 2, which I do kind of like against this +1 idea. Hydras will actually be able to fight that a whole lot easier than Queen's Bolt because just massive DPS. You're no longer trying to heal and sustain through the army, you're just trying to burst it down quickly. And Zest is going really quickly into a robo behind this, which really shouldn't surprise anyone. Ground Tempests. I think you're just talking about siege tanks. Or lurkers, I guess, but neither of those are single targets, so what? Sure. Anyways, +1 is just about done here as we'd have double Vorteray on the way at a time. And the question now is, what Robotech is Zest going for? Is this just for observers, just for kind of map control and map dominance? No. It will be for disruptors behind this. And you know what? Again, I do like the idea of the Hydroling Bane timing against what Zest just has. There was a reason that we saw a bunch of lurker timings against Zest in, what was it? TSL 6, TSL 5, right? With Raynor versus, no, Katowice. Because Raynor was just like, okay, well, Zest, you don't build disruptors, you build storm. Lurkers do a great job against that. So now Zest has started to build disruptors more, so he kind of shored up that issue, that weakness in his play. And that means that, well, this Hydroling Bane is going to be a little bit more viable. Disruptor shots have to be timed out pretty well to just knock down the Banelings in time. And well, we're going to have to see how Zest looks to defend, because now there are a bunch of Hydras, Queens running across the map, Lings as well. The creep spread is really nice. It does mean that Armani's going to find his way onto the other side of the map really quickly, as a bunch of Banelings are morphing on in with pretty much the entirety of the minerals that Armani has. He's actually not even gas limited right now. 30 Banelings are going to get morphed on in, and it's just going to be a great big, well, actually, sorry, not even Baneling speed. It's just going to be a big, slow roll on in here as the Banelings like to crash everything down, get the stack defense, get the army on the ground. Here's the Hydras with the Concave doing what they can. The Banelings, though, they need to get the static defense. That's the big deal, and they will. They will knock down the shield battery overcharge. Disruptor shots are going to be decent, but not great, as the split here from Armani is going to get something here. Third base is starting to get broken just a little bit. Third base is just, actually, sorry, it's not going to go down. That was something else here. And now, well, we're starting to see the Vorteries. There are only 3 of them, and they need a little bit more. So the third base is going to go on down. Probes are going to get pulled to try to evacuate as many of them as they can, but 18 probes have still died, as now we have disruptors on the field. 3 Vorteries at a time. Disruptors, well, they're going to pause. Yeah, that was very clearly some lag there. Okay, that was a bit, I mean, that was very clearly lag there from Zest. He's not just going to run 2 disruptors into the army of his opponent just like that. That does not feel good, and that may actually just lose. That probably has lost Zest this game at this point. Kind of lost him any idea of making ult. I mean, yeah, mass Vorteries are good, but at this point it is a 3-base Zerg against a 2-base Protoss with tons of production, a bunch of Banelings. We're just going to see a bunch of Banelings look to bust on through. Now, Disruptor Shot is going to be nice. I would like to see it on the Banelings morphing. That is where it needs to be in, but we don't have any more Disruptors on the way. What Zest has right now is pretty much all that he will have for this push. As the Hydras, yeah, they're not even, the Banelings aren't even going to try to bust the wall down. They don't have to. Hydras here on the edge are going to do what they can. Now, there's going to be a nice attempted warp in, and the Stasis Trap's going to save all, oh, actually, that's going to be massive here. Stasis Trap on top of all of the Banelings means they're not going to get anything done at the start here, but they're just more Banelings where that came from. More Adepts looking to morph on in. More Adepts just looking to die here as Banelings just knocking down all the static defense. Vorteries are starting to go on down, and that lag that Zest felt, that lag that he dealt with, was just the killer blow here. Losing those Disruptors really did lose him the game. Now, it does look like there are some Adepts, I think, in the natural of Armani that's starting to find, in the main base, that's starting to find some commensurate value. And the army supplies are not all that different as the Vorteries continue to find their way on in. The Stasis Trap is going to be fantastic, which is going to allow these Vorteries to fight. You know what, folks? Have I spoken too soon here? It's starting to look like Zest is making a hold happen, which is kind of utterly insane. As Armani, well, he is now only up 8 workers. The army supplies have equalized. It's a bunch of void rays, 3 at a time. It's +1 voids against +0 hydras. And what the actual F? This is Armani's holding here, or Zest is holding here, folks. And this is insane. I really cannot believe that what we're seeing here from Zest at this point. The stasis traps have just been so gosh darn clutch, keeping everything alive. But now the Zerglings are going to find their way on into the main base. This is where things get a little bit more complicated because, well, Void Rays, they don't kill Zerglings all that fast. Looks like Armani is going to back up for the time being. He's going to run on home, try to establish a 4th base. But that's going to be a difficult task. All right, so 3rd base on the way for Zest once again. I would love to see the Void Rays move out on the map. Again, just to try to cancel this 4th base. But actually, there are not that many of them. Only 9 Void Rays on the map right now. Well, 9 Void Rays can absolutely kill that base, but they can't kill the Hydras, and that's the big deal. How many Disruptors do we have? None. So yeah, this is an army that Zest needs a lot of stack defense to make work right now. But we are starting to see. Okay, that Stasis Trap's not going to get anything done. We are starting to see carriers hit the map now, and +1 carriers against +0 hydras, even +1 hydras, is a fantastic thing. Yeah, honestly, that was one of the most insane holds I've seen from Zest or from any Protoss player in quite a while. He was dead. Like, he lost his 3rd base. It was so many Banelings. He was down a bunch of army supply. He had like no Void Rays. He lost 2 Disruptors to just running them into Banelings. And you're like, how in the world does Zest hold this? But he did. And now, well, we're going to go on into the mid game. It's going to be Infestors. They're going to be the name of the game. You're looking for maybe a good fungal combo, a good fungal parasitic bomb combo once the hive is done, something like that. But Zest is not going to give the time for that, as now we're going to have the Oracle run on in. A couple more workers do go down. Now, Zest, he's down on workers. He's only at 47. Only just now starting to rebuild his worker count once again. SCP Keter, it is strictly because Zest runs into Solar in the grand finals of EPT Cup Korea like every other week, and he just iterates on defenses and offenses against builds like this. Yeah, Armani is slightly ahead, really just the lack of a Templar. I don't believe we have a Templar Archives. Yeah, no Templar Archives. So that means no High Templar, which means no feedbacks for the Vipers that are going to come hit the field, no Storm, anything like that. So from that perspective, only Armani is a little bit ahead. His economy, it's better now, but it was not really much better for a good portion of this game. His 4th base only just now really starting to mine. So yeah, Armani's a little bit ahead, but not by much. Yeah, these games are... Zest is just... I'm not going to say the best player in the world, because, I mean, Trap indubitably has the... Undoubtedly, excuse me, has the best PvZ in the world, bar none. I mean, he is the father of, like, the modern Protoss style against Zerg right now. Yeah, Zest is not... I don't think Zest is really going to look to fight before he has +2 in Storm. Those are really the big timers that he's going to be looking for. But at the very least, he needs to make sure that he has... there we go. Yeah, Vipers are going to go on out here, knock down these Disruptor, but more shots are going to go on up. They're not going to get much, though. These force fields are actually going to be fantastic, and I'd have loved to see Zest chase down the army on the left-hand side as it was segmented out. But that looks like that's not going to happen for the time being. And the Disruptors are starting to get target fired on down. But okay, now we do have a Templar hitting the field. And they're just for feedbacks right now. Nice feedback there. 1 Void Ray is going to pay the price, though. And there we go. Again, force fields are going to be really nice. We're going to see a bunch of Hydras go on down here. But now Storm is underway. +2 is 3/4 of the way done here. We're going to need to see some more feedbacks. I know it looked nice target fire down there on one Viper. And again, Abducts, they're trying to trade, and they are getting positive trades here at this point. But if you look at resources lost, Armani has lost just about 4,000 resources more. He is trading about five or six Hydras and a Viper for every abductor at this point, which is not really what you want. And now +2 air attack is underway. How many carriers do we have right now? We have 2. We're going to go up to 4 rather soon. And this is where things get a little bit spicy, because +2 carrier timing, I mean, Roddy will talk about it at length. It is intensely scary for the Zerg player. So we're going to have to see whether he really looks to take advantage of that. I mean, Storm is done in 12 seconds too, so this is really a powerful timing that Armani or that Zest can look to make use of. But also, I mean, he's only on 4 bases. He has been kind of behind in tempo the entire game, and that does make life a little bit more difficult. Also, I mean, ground armor upgrades are a thing, so not like the +2 upgrade is going to be quite as powerful as it might otherwise be. Nah, Kevin Skill. I think we also got to talk about if you talk about top 4 players, Maru's got to be in there, Trap has got to be in there, Clem has got to be in there. We're talking about top players. Oh geez, Earl Sweet, that's a payday right there. Okay, but now Zealous, they will find this. What is this? The 6th base here of Armani, and I love when we see Zergs just do late game burrow. You're like, okay, it's not all. I mean, it's not all that expensive, but it's so great because it allows you to do things like this, where you see these run bys go on in, and unless there's detection, and even then, I mean, you get spore crawlers in there. That means the detection doesn't get much done. The observer just gets shot down. You're able to just keep so many of your workers alive if you're on top of things. It's really cool. I wish we saw more Zergs doing it, but certainly we are seeing the value here from Armani. As now, folks, get your spams ready because we have a mothership. It's just about halfway done. You don't think Trap is top 5? I disagree with that one. He is making the finals of like every tournament. He wins. He's been the only Protoss player that has won tournaments this year, and he won both super tournaments. He's only losing to, Cyril, who, well, he's the Korean Slayer, even if he can't win within his own region anymore. He is the Korean Slayer, and he's won major tournaments against he won TSL 7 against Reigner. The fact, considering Trap not top 5 is pretty much an exercise, it is kind of an ultimate hubris. But anyway, we're going to see a big engagement kicking off here. Nice knurls on top of all of these carriers, and with the microbial shroud, I mean, yeah, it's a storm here button, but the storms did not hit, and this is going to be a massive fight for Armani. I thought I was wrong, excuse me. The amount of DPS here is now gone. All of the investors, well, they're going to get chased on down here if there was any detection, folks. There is not. And that was a great fight for Zest. I'm sorry, I'm looking at this, I'm like, yeah, everything's going down. Ultras in front are knocking out all of the High Templar. The storms are only landing on the Ultras, which does not do much. The Neurals on the carriers are doing a great job. Hydra's target firing them down. It's gonna be, and then Zest just wins anyways. +3 air is a powerful thing. Trap is by far, you say Trap's not consistent. Trap is by far the most consistent Protoss player. It's players like Zest that are like, okay, maybe they're going to be good, maybe not. Trap has been like top 4 in like every tournament he's played in this year. He's won, I don't know how you could call Trap inconsistent. But now we have another fight going on in, and notice here, Zest is just target firing down the detection to make sure that his army doesn't do much. There we go, so it doesn't even matter. Once again, I mean, we're at that point now where you just cannot engage in the army of Zest with the army that Armani does have, because it goes in and just dies. The anti-air is just not strong enough. +3 air is a powerful thing, but the Storm's just looking to soften everything up, and now the Golden Armada of Zest is running on in through the map, and folks, we're not looking good. As now Zealots are going to look to run on in to this 6th base, target fire things down. I like the I kind of like the time warp, the time zone, the time field, because that does mean now that Armani can't really defend this base, or certainly cannot defend the lower left one. But Zest is just marauding on in forward at this point. There's nothing that Armani can do. Yeah, he can burrow his drones, and that's going to be something. But he cannot build an army that fights Zest anymore. He had his one big remax, and it didn't do anything. The lack of Aspire here is really telling. At this point, you need like 3/3 Corruptor Viper. Make sure you can take a fight, or really good fungal parasitic bomb, and neither of these is something that Armani has access to right now. Not really. Maybe fungal parabomb, but I don't believe we have any Vipers on. Yeah, no Vipers on the field. And I mean, at this point, well, the one Immortal is here. It's +3 Void Ray, so they're just gonna be able to target down their ultras rather easily. And I don't. I mean, Armani, he's gonna have one more shot, but I don't know, Kev. Now, once again, we're going to see Microbial Strat just dropped, but not on where the army is fighting. And really all that matters is just getting the storms on the Hydras, and that's about it. Everything else just doesn't really matter. Okay, so the Ultras, they're going to run on in. And how are we at in terms of interceptors? Actually, we're only on 15 interceptors. So this army from Zest is not all that great, but Zealots are now going to look to run on in. They're just going to look to clean everything up. Ultras running by onto this fourth base of Zest. They're going to try to do what they can. But I mean, look at the supplies here at this point. Ultras are absolute paper. Even if they do have 5 armor, they're Ultra absolutely paper against these +3 voids. So there we go. Ultras are starting to go on down. Bases of Armani are getting killed off. And I do like the idea. He's like, yeah, I think the Ultras, they're not useful for all that much. So they will be able to go on in and knock down this 5th base of Zest and kill off 19 workers in the time being. But again, it's the anti-air that's the issue. Time has been bought here, so now we're at 23 interceptors. And yes, Microbial Shroud is nice, but Zealot's going to warp on in here. They're going to be able to get on top of these Hydras. They do have +3 now as well. And yeah, 82 army supply to 52 is everything that we need to say. He had Vipers, Angry Maya, but he just kind of ran out of money. He was the goal here, the lack of Vipers. There is an idea. There's a method behind the madness where you go and you have your Vipers at first. You try to trade out, and then you remax instantaneously. And Vipers take a long time to rebuild and get the energy for, right? So what you do there, you say, okay, I think I've killed off enough of this stuff. I'm gonna remax on just a bunch of quick building things, Zerglings and Hydras and maybe some Ultras. Even though Ultras take a little bit of time, and then you just hope to win on the remax, which is what Armani did there. But Zest kept too much alive. He had too much of his Sky army alive, and then, you know, not having the Vipers, it made life rather difficult indeed. So that's kind of, that's the idea behind that. It didn't work, but that's kind of what you're looking for. Hey, don't you know, Kyries are very scary against Ultras. Now, the one thing I will say is both players' economy is kind of in the dumps. I mean, Armani's economy is much more in the dumps than Zest is, as Zest is outmining him 1,600 to like 200. Oh man, there's like 200 minerals and no gas being mined here from Armani. That's insane. He's only got that bottom left base. But yeah, the Void Rays, I like the Void Rays on the right hand side, Carriers on the left. Zest just looks to reestablish his economy. Wants to absolutely make sure that there's 0 chance he loses this game. And I mean, that's fair. There is kind of 0% chance that he loses the game at this point. But, you know, it's better safe than sorry, is now the Hydras are going to get chased on down by these Voids. And, well, Burrow is the thing, but the Hydras aren't going to defend this base. That means this base is just going to get target fired on and down by a bunch of thick beam Void Rays. So the Hydras, they're going to be forced to appear. And, well, yeah, okay, they were just target fire the base down. Transfuse is not going to save this. And now Armani, yeah, he's just dead. GG Zest takes it, or goes up 2-0. Yeah, I mean, I've heard rumors that we're going to get another balance patch. That Blizzard has been talking to StarCraft players for a while about what they want to see. Although the fact that it's taking this long has been this secret, and they're like really trying to figure out what's happening, kind of makes me think that that might be the final balance patch that Blizzard does, which would be very sad. Void Carrier, so Angry Maya, that's actually rather common dichotomy in late game PvP, where you see one player go for the Skytoss army and one player just go for Mass Stalker. And yeah, of course, the more expensive army is going to win in the straight up fight. But then they just try to play around the map, snipe down carriers here or there, try to make something happen. And there is absolutely room for multiple late game play styles in this game, which I do appreciate. You see it more in mirrors than you do see in non-mirrors, say PvZ for example. But it is very cool that we see games where a late game Protoss can win the game by building a really strong, powerful armies like the traditional Protoss idea, but also by just having a bunch of Blink Stalkers and looking to play the map better than their opponent. It's not even that. I mean, carrier or corruptors are not all that. I mean, yeah, they fight with Sky Toss here a little bit easier, but carrier storm is a thing, and it's so like you get like 8 storms, and suddenly the corruptors just can't ever take a straight up engagement. I mean, yeah, you can do a Viper corruptor and look to abduct, but if the storms are placed properly, corruptors will just melt. Okay, so it will be a similar opening from Zest as we saw in the previous game, where it is Void Ray into Oracle and probably into more Void Rays. And on a defensive map like this, I think we're going to see straight to Sky Toss style once again from Zest. You got to imagine it's just a very good Sky Toss map. Romanticide was one of those maps that kind of first taught us how scary the 2 Stargate meta could be. Because of just how free your third base is. There we go, +1 air attack underway as well. Yeah, because just how free your third base is, how choky it is. And then it kind of infected almost every other map. A little bit of mismicro there from Zest as he just rallies his Oracle into anti-air range, and that's not all that great, but it's fine. I mean, one Oracle is it's scouting more than anything else. I mean, any damage he gets other than that is nice. And look, this Void Ray, he's gonna get 2 workers. Okay. Look, this is cool. So we're getting Phoenix out here, and this is going to be +1 Phoenix tag. Double Stargate +1 Phoenix is going to be the name of the game for Zest here in this game number 3. And I've seen Zest do this once, I think. I've seen Astrea do it a couple times, and it's just really cool. You can absolutely snowball games like this, where you just get a lot of Phoenix all of a sudden. You go and lift everything up, and if your opponent doesn't get the scout, I mean, they're just not prepared whatsoever. And if this is gonna be okay, so it's gonna be +1 melee. This is gonna be Hydrolink Bane once again, because I mean, Armani did just almost win that game, and unless there's just an ungodly amount of I'm sorry, this is gonna be Spire play. Oh, what a soul read here. What a soul read here from Zest. This is so cool. So there's the chance that this is going to be Corruptors first, but if Zest does not show his Phoenix until the Spire is done, which is a possibility. Okay, he's going to move out of the map now. I was going to say, if he doesn't show the Phoenix until the Spire completes, I mean, you build mutas and they just immediately get murked, and then you're very unhappy. But anyway, now we will see the Phoenix running across the map. You're trying to make something happen. +1 is done, so they're gonna, I mean, again, +1 is so powerful with Phoenix because they fire 2 shots at a time. That is, again, what makes +1 Phoenix so scary. And how many queens do we have? We have 7 queens. Yeah, they're just gonna all get lifted here, and we're not even paying attention. So the transfuses are not good. The transfuses are not good enough. He's transfusing a queen on the ground instead of a queen on the air, and the queens are just starting to go on down here. Yeah, we have some static defense that should force this back, but that was, what is that, 2 Phoenix for 4 queens right there, and it's only going to start to snowball from here. This is where things start to get scary. You need to build as many queens as possible. You need as much static defense as possible here, because these are +1 Phoenix. They have so much power on the map. They can find these wonderful positions behind mineral lines. And Armani, he's got to start to panic just a little bit, because this is just such a weird build. It's not something you run into every day or even every week. I mean, who knows? This may be the meta more on the high-level Korean ladder. I don't get to see that as much. But we will start to see Corruptors hit the field. And the scary thing about builds like this is we will see a Fleet Bacon come down. We will see Anti-Pulse Crystals hit. And with +1, with +2 Phoenix, there actually is a time if you get enough damage done with a Phoenix, we'll just beat all the Corruptors. Okay, so fourth Stargate going on down as the fourth base comes on in from Zest. And that's really one of the benefits of this build that he's opted to go for, is the fact that he can just kind of expand with impunity because he just exerts so much pressure on the map. I mean, look how quickly these queens die. I mean, how many Corruptors do we have? 8 Corruptors. Honestly, unless the queens are on the ground, unless they're stat defense, these Phoenix can take the fight against these Corruptors. With good target fire, there we go. We're starting to see that snowball just a little bit. So the queens are going to get lifted. They're going to get target fired down first, and then the Phoenix can take this fight. I mean, straight up here, there are not enough Corruptors in the sky to deal with this. I mean, you got to target fire them appropriately. But, I mean, these Phoenix are starting to dominate. They're owning the air. They're owning the ground just because there are more than enough lifts to make anything happen. I would not mind almost seeing a Dark Shrine because, you know what? you remove all the mobile defense and things can become problematic. But anyways, the Corruptors are starting to go on down. This build is bonkers, but it absolutely works on out here as the Corruptors are just starting to go on down. Phoenix out trading them because, again, +1 versus +0, it's a thing. And yeah, with all the Corruptors going on down, well, you know, that being said, with the more Corruptors hitting the field, that was 11 Phoenix that did go down, even as they did trade better. Still, 11 Phoenix do go down, but it's 4 Phoenix at a time. And Pulse Crystal's just about halfway done. Yeah. Okay, so +2 air attack underway now. And by the way, it's funny. One of the things that you're normally able to accomplish if you're playing a style like this is your creep spread gets pretty good because, well, your queens die. That's fine. You have enough. I mean, Phoenix can't lift up spore or cannot lift up creep tumors. But now that's just not happening. So now the Phoenix, they're just going to look to jump on top of this, sitting at the very edge of Corruptor range. Because again, with any Pulse Crystals, they can actually make that fight happen. And they're just going to jump on top of everything. Shield battery or static defense be damned. It does not matter. As the queens, they're going to show up. They're just going to go down. And I mean, yeah, upgrades will now be interrupted. But I mean, now we're starting to see the supply get taken on down here. Armani thinks he's got a shot. But Armani's kind of look at resources lost. It's doubling at 10 minutes into this game, and now it's just gonna get worse. Now as the big air buffer is now gone, so it means, well, the Phoenix can lift up any and every worker. One volley kills a Corruptor almost. I think it's kind of interesting that we are seeing attack upgrades for these Corruptors. By the way, I think I would have preferred just seeing additional Carapace upgrades, looking to kind of counteract the attack upgrades of the Phoenix. But okay, Parasitic Bomb's nice. That's something, as we will see a lot. I mean, these Phoenix are rather low. A lot of them have been trading out. So that is something. But now it's Void Race. And let's do attack. And we should see Flux Veins happen rather soon as well. I wouldn't mind seeing carriers. Because, I mean, look, this Zest could take a 5th base if he wants to. He's not. Sorry, as I say that, he is. He's taking the rich gas base. Zest opened one Void Ray, 1 Oracle into 3 Stargate Phoenix. There we go. Carriers are on the way. Yeah, because with Vipers out, honestly, Parasitic Bombs are... It's like that timing where you're playing ZVZ, where you got a lot of mutants, you have a lot of map control, you're in a winning position, but you can't probably win the game yet because when the Vipers pop out, you're like, okay, I got to swap. I got to do something else because the Vipers are just going to explode me. All right, so now the Corruptors are going to show up on the field here. This is the timing that they're looking for, right? With Parasitic Bomb. Parasitic Bomb on top of, what is that, 2 Phoenix, I think. Splits actually aren't going to be all that great, and all the Phoenix are going on down. I mean, I don't know how much it's going to matter because now the stack defense is up. We have 10 gateways done here. No attack upgrades, but I mean, again, that was probably the best possible fight that Armani could look for is, again, 3 Vipers, 3 Parasitic Bombs, all the Phoenix, they explode. But we're now going to go on up to like 8 carriers with +2, and it's not great. No, he really didn't. Like, he tried to split. He tried to split against the parasitic bomb, but didn't really succeed all that well. He's like, oh, whatever. The time of the Phoenix is done anyways. I need the supply. I love the slow zealot run by. That's like, yeah, charge is done in 20 seconds. Whatever. It's okay. I don't have any ground upgrades. Whatever. It's okay. As we do have the Zerglings, they're just going to run on by. It's fine. A lack of really a lot of micro here, interesting micro decisions. But now again, we're going to see +3 air is going to be done rather soon. Carriers, they're going to find something here. Now the army of Armani's just kind of been distracted here on the left-hand side. So we're going to see more and more damage done here from an already terrifying Zest. So this base will go on down. Adepts find their way on in the high ground, just trying to deal with these Hydras. And we will see an attempted flank, but the Archons that are just going to sit down below everything are just going to zone out all of these Corruptors, zone out all of the Vipers that are just trying to maybe, hopefully, hope against hope, take a fight. Okay, now Stalkers, I mean, they're actually just not, I mean, this is just not a lot of micro here from Zest at this point. His gateway units are going on down, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the parasitic bomb is going to be nice, but now Archons will absolutely shred these Ultras. Actually, no, not really, not with the Zerglings there. And the army, once again, of Zest is kind of falling on down. It feels like he's being a little bit too lackadaisical here. He's so damn far ahead that he feels that he can do this, but I mean, look at resources lost now. It's equalized. Armani from a position where he was just not in a good spot. I mean, he's still not in the best spot, but Zest's army supply is down on 20 now. He's lost a hell of a lot, and he can't just 1A, folks. He can't just 1A. He can't do what Zest is doing and expect it to work and just like, oh, well, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I don't need micro. I don't need upgrades. I'd love to see the Blind Cloud on the static defense there. So Armani, I mean, he's got bases now. He's mining. He's going to be able to knock down this base. Although, I mean, there's Immortals here now. And there is +1 ground, which is nice. So we will see a bunch of Ultras die immediately, but 10 workers have died. The base is going to go on down. That being said, I mean, Zest is trading a base for a base, and he is starting to equalize army supply just a little bit because, again, +1 or +3 voids against 2-1 Corruptors. Well, they're going to win that fight as one base does go down. It is, well, the upgrades for the ground are not all that great for Zest right now. So he's not going to be able to knock this base down. But he has reverted Armani to what is effectively 2 mining bases. And that, by the way, that 80, what was it, 100 army supply to 20? Well, it's now 62 to 57. Zest, once again, he's in a much better spot. He's still on 4 bases. He's still, and by the way, he took these bases a lot later. So he's able to mine from them a little bit more efficiently than Armani is. Now what do we have? Link Ultra on the ground here, trying to make something happen. The Corruptors should be in time. There we go. Ultras, Corruptor, or Archons, Corruptors, Archons, Void Rays, all that fun stuff will find their way on over. And Zest, once he's now up 30 army supply, and I love this. So he's going kind of for a flank here, trying to see if he can zone out or zone the army into a fight. The Void Rays are absolutely going to do that. I mean, Void Rays are the dominant force in this army right now. The Ultras can't fight them. The Corruptors cannot fight them. GG. Zest takes the win, 3-0. Even with me getting a little bit lazy in that micro. And he's going to move on to the finals against Zoun.